Yeah, so we came here in 2004. I'll never forget, it was December of 2004. And the neighborhood didn't look like what it looks like now. I mean, in 2004, earlier that year, there was like 3 or 4 hurricanes that hit Florida really bad, especially Broward. And this building over here to the right was completely diminished. I mean, the roof had caved in, the structure wasn't standing the way it is now, and it was completely abandoned. I mean, the entire block, actually, the entire street was pretty diminished, you know? And before we left Antigua, where we were moving from, which is a very small island in the Caribbean, I had no clue where we were going. I just knew we were coming to the United States and we were coming to Florida, but I had no imagination of what it would look like, you know? And I figured it had to be better than where we were in the first place, because when we lived in Antigua, we lived with such low means. I mean, we were poor, you know. We lived in a, I guess what you would call a shack now. You know, zinc roof, plywood walls. You know, a portion of our kitchen was outside, you know, and our bathroom was outside. You know, we had really, it was a 1-bedroom, and myself and my other 2 siblings shared a small area of the house that I guess you would call our room, but it was really out in the living room area. And it was, again, we were poor. It is what it is. We didn't have a family vehicle, you know. Our means of transportation was public transportation. We walked everywhere, you know. But there were times, like, we were happy, but, you know, my parents, my mom and my stepfather knew they wanted more for us. Yeah, so when we left the airport, we came here to this building. We actually came to live with some family on the first floor. And believe it or not, I came here, I remember coming to this exact block and coming up to the apartment complex, and I was just like, oh my God, this is like paradise. This is beautiful. This is, you know. And I think it was just because it was just a way better situation than where I was coming from, you know. And as a kid, it looked a lot bigger, you know. But for me, it was paradise. It was everything. Yeah. So eventually, again, it was like 8 of us in here, and eventually it was now, after a little bit, it was myself, my mom, my stepfather, my youngest brother, and my eldest sister, and we lived in the apartment. We lived, like I said, on the first floor, and I'm sorry, man, you know, I had a friend, at the time was one of my closest friends, who lived up on the 3rd floor, you know. It was my only friend really in the neighborhood, you know, because I was very secluded for the most part. And all we would like to do is come outside, look at the cars go by, you know, and at the time his mom had a car, and she gave him that car. She had 2 cars, she gave him a car, and we would work on that car, you know, all day. We, you know, just messing around, taking the radio out, you know, going through the engine bay and just you're learning cars, and that's what kept us out of trouble. And I guess that's why, you know, I guess I never felt the pressure as much, because I was able to come outside and you know, hang with my friend, or, you know, and do things that basically didn't get me in too much trouble, you know. So anyways, my mom knew how important that was to myself and, especially my elder sister, and my little brother was still very young. So she said that we actually got an apartment on the 3rd floor on the same exact building, and just on the 3rd floor. So I was excited about that. It was on the same floor as my friend, and and I was glad that I was not going back to Antigua, and I was glad that we weren't leaving. So that was good. Yeah, so I was really happy about that. So we did the move. We moved everything up on the 3rd floor, and I was happy to stay. And I remember, things started to feel normal again. My stepfather, he was able to find a project where he was working, and my mom was, finding a bit of more stable work, and I was so eager to help. I would tell my mom, hey, because sometimes she would leave 2, 3 in the morning, and she would go clean commercial offices and stuff like that. And I really wanted my mom to keep a job, and so I would go with her. 2, 3 a.m. in the morning, I knew I had school in the morning, and it didn't matter. I'll wake up, we'll go, we'll have one of our family members, one of our cousins to drop us off, and we'll work for a few hours, and I come back, I'll get some sleep and go to school, come back and do it all over again. Because that's how bad I wanted stability. That as a child, I was thinking, what can I contribute? What can I do? How can I help? That's how bad I wanted it. And then same thing again. One day I came home and from school, lights were off again. And this time the lights were off for a while.